I remember. Christmas 2010, when I finally got together with my two friends from 11 in the world of Eorzea. I had been playing sparsely since launch. My focus was mining, and for me, just logging into this world outside of my studies and spending hours mining, it oddly felt relaxing, and for a gathering mechanic was rather enjoyable. Come Christmas, a dear friend of mine could finally play the game due to purchasing a new PC, and that's when the real adventures began. Other players have spoken thoroughly about the world of Eorzea and the times of 1.0 and the transition into 2.0, and I don't think I could speak about that just as effectively as they have, but I played right through from launch until server closing, and it's one of the most enjoyable times I've ever had in an MMO, even in comparison to my 8 years playing Final Fantasy XI. I remember come patch 1.22 when my girlfriend installed the game, the wonder and joy that she received from the world in the short 6 months before server closing, something that we have all felt in our first MMO, that we can never find again. I've always been convinced of 14, and even playing at launch, progressing into when Yoshida took over, there was always one thing that stood out amongst the game. For a myriad of things, such as the attention to detail, motion captured emotions, and focus on community. There was something else that had always had my attention, and something that I often find difficult to put into words. The scale of the world is what I'm talking about. Regardless of the copy-pasted terrain that everyone harked on about back then, the size of the characters and the environment in comparison to the wider area and other environmental pieces, that felt just right. I often find in other MMOs the scale seems very skewed and nothing seems to be sized just correctly, but in A Realm Reborn, as was with 1.0, everything feels correct, the environments feel large in comparison to the characters, and I genuinely feel that the tree I stand next to is much larger than myself, and the city gate towers above my avatar. Which is a very odd thing to talk about in a plethora of unique features, but it's something that I'm glad has not been lost in this transition to A Realm Reborn, and something that makes the world feel just that little more real. I found myself in a very odd place when it came to the open beta, or phase 3 of A Realm Reborn. Myself and my friends have spoken many times about our views on our 1.0 characters in this brand new world. Allow me to elaborate. While I absolutely adore Drazzan, my 1.0 character, I cannot play him when launch hits us. I find that these 1.0 characters are from that era, that is their home, and the memories of that place stay with them. He's more than a small LFL to me, he's a persona of myself. When we came to playing our 1.0 characters in phase 3, everything was just very overwhelming. All of the equipment, the skills, the story, everything had changed, as to be expected. It was all so much that I felt I was spoiling this crafted world by being at the highest possible point already. And that is why I plan to start over come the launch of the new game. Not as Drazzan, but an entirely different character. Drazzan's story is complete. Focusing on something else entirely, I often find myself browsing forums, communities, news, journals, articles, and anything else I can find on A Realm Reborn. Each time a new article is posted, I feel a tightness in my chest, an indescribable tension that weighs on me until I've finished reading. It's like I'm afraid of what they might say, and how their opinion might weigh on other people's minds, people who haven't played either game, and are looking to see how the game has turned out, when I want for nothing more than for them same people to enjoy this game and experience A Realm Reborn. I feel that I won't ever be able to relax and breathe easy until all of the final reviews and impressions are out. Then I can sit back and raise a glass to Yoshida's team and say, well done, you've done it. But one thing I do know for sure is, the joy we felt through the evolution of 1.0, that will be felt through thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands more people as they make their first journey into this world that we've been a part of for almost 3 years. It might be many people's first MMO, and that's where our community needs to shine. We need to show these people the world, embrace them, encourage them to talk. Too many MMOs have fallen into silent communities, and A Realm Reborn needs to be different, and only we can achieve that. For a final thought, I want you to think about all the hard work that has been poured into this game, the heartfelt care that you can see from almost every aspect, be it from the graphics, the models, the music, sound effects, community representatives, other players, anything at all. Treat this game not just your standard, typical MMO affair. Become immersed, enjoy the journey, and don't stress about reaching goals and milestones. Rather, play with your friends, enjoy living in this world that has been created. If you do that, you'll receive something truly amazing from the game that won't ever be replaced. And that's what I remember more than anything else.